Let's go. It's me, Puddle Cakes again. I'm here to do my YSG Commander Spotlight, but doing it in a different way where I talk about why I use him in my Murderball and the hidden skill that I think is overlooked all the time because people only look at this big, massive AoE skill damage. So, since the beginning of Rise of Kingdoms, YSG came out, and whoever maxed him out used him in everything. I think I remember Caesar YSG, Barca YSG, I've seen Genghis Khan YSG, I've seen, lately, it seems like the tank meta with YSG is super popular, and a lot of it has to do with that whole AoE aspect of the commander. But one thing that they miss that helps benefit archers and that concept of being archers only is in one of his skills. First of all, I'll go over his skills a little bit. The one skill that everyone notices since the beginning is Rain of Arrows. When it's not expertise, it just kind of goes as like pretty much like a 90-degree angle cone shape. Nothing too spectacular, but it does hit pretty hard. When it's expertise, it actually does a little bit more damage and does a full circle. And this is why when you watch any video, every streamer goes and says that this is the best archer commander. This is the best archer commander. Pretty much everyone uses him, and they try to get their hands on him no matter what. I think everyone they don't really look at this skill too much, and we do definitely look at the passive skill, at the increased skill damages, and it is huge. I think one skill that is generally overlooked is this skill right here. And I think it's coming a little bit more into fruition after the latest Heroic Anthem KVK, because you can get this from a Bastion quest, and it bumps up your damage quite a bit. But it's troops led by this commander have a 10% chance to gain 100 rage for each normal attack, and for the next 3 seconds, all archer units led by this commander gain 100% increased attack. So 100% increased attack is based off of the base attack, but that is extremely significant because at least 50% of your attack is base attack damage. So if you're hitting for 10,000 white damage, you know that 5,000 of that is going to be your attack, 5,000 is going to be your counter attack. So that means 50% of your 5,000 damage from your normal attack is going to be added on top of that white damage. So you'll have another 2,500 damage. So that's pretty significant. I use him a lot with, once again, tanky commanders. You'll see a lot of people use him with Ramses, and you'll see him. I've seen actually a lot of Artemisia and YSG in this last KVK. That's pretty interesting. I think the cream of the crop has been Cid YSG. It's been something that's been going on for a really, really long time, and it fits really well with YSG as a whole. I think I like it a lot during my murder balls because YSG adds that, or Cid adds that tankiness, but then YSG gives that buff to damage and can AoE, and he's kind of hidden by the fact that no one really cares about Cid. If you have him with Ramses, Ramses can pump out a lot of damage, but if you watch Dragothian or you watch like Chisgul or if you watch Legend Ronnie, you see all of them fight, and even Fleisch. I think Fleisch said in one of his ruins videos that he targets Ramses every single time. So you got to take that into consideration. What do you bring with Ramses then, if it's not YSG? So for me personally, I really like putting him with that Cid. The other thing is, if you look at how the little test here, just to kind of show the difference of that hidden skill. So Ramses and Tamiris, completely different archer commanders, but one thing that they add is an insane amount of attack damage and stats. And you can see here that they're hitting pretty hard, white damage, and when the skills go off, it's pretty significant itself too. What level barb? 45, so I'll look for another 45 barb. So you see here all the damage that's going off, and this is kind of some people's go-to for rallying, doing forts, just field fights and stuff like that. I still am not the biggest fan because they both are kind of squishy in a sense, and they get targeted a lot. But just from the stats, it's like 40 severely wounded, nothing too crazy. And if you look at my buffs, because of my Ramses equipment, which I might show, these are my stats with no rune, no nothing. So I have an extremely high attack, as you can see, defense and health. And we had that for damage. So now I gotta find another level 45 barb quick. Let's go with the 47. Now, you're gonna see that if I show the battle log, sorry, my chair's broken and it keeps sliding down. But if I end up showing you the battle log, you're going to see that the second skill will proc once every 10 seconds, at least. It doesn't have a hidden cooldown like a lot of the other new commanders do. And the other cool thing is that it lasts for 3 seconds. So you can actually get a buff for 3 out of 10 turns if it only hits 1 out of 10 turns. But essentially you could have it almost proc once, twice, or even 3 times in 10 seconds. So, of course, I'm going to get targeted up there probably, but so you can see the damage is pretty significant, and it is a great setup. Ramses and YSG. What am I doing? I'm lost. Now, if you go here, it's pretty similar in damage taken. True buffs. As you can see, I actually have a lot less attack damage. The skill damage between YSG and Tamiris isn't that significant, but it's just how they work together. If I can find another one, of course I can. Oh well. Ramses YSG is by far the best damage currently in the game for archers. The only problem is that it's super squishy. So, me personally, I like Cid, I like YSG. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. This is my first grouping, my first pairing in my Murderball. And a lot of that has to do with that tankiness, that AoE damage, and that half of 1 turn out of every 9 to 10 seconds being negated, which I went over the damage percentages in the last video. So a lot of that ends up being my first part of how I take down tanky commanders. You know, your Rams, or not your Rams, your Richards, your Martells, and stuff like that. And I'll show you. I'm hoping to show you guys a war, maybe in the next couple days, maybe in a week here, and you'll see how I approach every fight, and you can just see how my Murderball completely shreds, and how I use that to my advantage. But I'm going to sign off. I'm sorry I got a little off track. I plan on making another video actually this, probably tonight or tomorrow, and I'm going to actually go over Herman and Kusunoki. Talk about how epic commanders are not as bad as we think, and they're still extremely useful, and anyone can use them, and I pretty much used Herman all the way up until, I'd say, probably like 600 days. So stay tuned, come back another day, subscribe, help out, whatever. If you have questions, send me a message on Discord. I'm in Shinchi's chat, and in-game anytime. Thank you.